Fireside Chat, and here we are discussing with Luis and Valentino. My name is Martin Tumwene, founder at Zaantu Technologies. Basically, we do CTO as a service, but also at the same time support businesses by helping, let's say, create like different software for them. But also on top of that, also do IT consulting and supporting businesses in that sort of regard. So today we'll be talking about imposter syndrome. And here we have Luis and Valentino. So they're going to tell us a little bit about imposter syndrome and also about myself as well. So who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
Yes. So basically uh imposter syndrome is like let's say, as Mr. Martin has talked about it, imposter syndrome is like you believing that you are not worthy of what let's say you've achieved or something like that. For example, me, when I was being given an internship at Zaantu, okay, I was given internship at Zaantu. Uh, when I came onto the team, I always had this feeling that I'm not as good as the team that is already there. I mean, if you had to look at Jojo, if you had to look at Louise, if you had to look at everyone there. So most of the times, I even there's a time Mr. Martin gave me an assignment to do. That was a restaurant application, just the front end of it. And truthfully, truthfully speaking, I thought thrice to send to send the APK to you, because I thought it was not going to be good enough to the standards that you would have wanted. So this is how imposter syndrome keeps on coming into our heads. It makes us think that we are not good enough. We don't deserve what we have been given. Because I'm sure there was maybe there were some other people who applied for internship at Zaantu, but uh, maybe they were not given, and I was given. So it 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 comes into play that sometimes you sit down and you really think you're not good enough, or whatever you're going to do for the company is not as good as the other people around you. Or so it keeps you in a small position. So for me, my experience is majorly that when I came into Zaantu, truthfully speaking, I didn't have a lot of experience in working on big projects or building. I think I've built my first application here at Zaantu. The rest were websites. I built websites, and both dynamic and static websites. But building an application like the one Mr. Martin gave me to build, that was my first time to build one. So it made me feel out of place, because I always thought that Mr. Martin will maybe find out that I've never built an I've never built an application before, and they will say, "This guy, why I don't have the skills or what." But surprisingly, I built one. I built an application. I sent it to Mr. Martin, and Mr. Martin said, "It's fine. It's okay. It's." But if and that was just after me sitting down and overcoming the imposter syndrome. Otherwise, if I had not done that, I think I wouldn't even send that application to Mr. Martin, because ah, just know it's a lot. It can burden you so much, and that's my experience. That's my experience, Mr. Martin.
I get. Thank you for your honesty. So, imposter syndrome uh, is something for those of you who might not understand what it is. It's I'm just looking at it as a scenario or a feeling that you get the where you feel like you are not worthy of being in a specific maybe social position or economic position in which you're in at that very moment in time. It normally hits hard people who are in like different places, most especially people in the workplace. It does hit hard as well. where I feel like I'm not good enough to actually lead people in this sort of regard. I can only imagine you being president, and then people are saying, "This president, what's wrong with you? Food prices are going up," And I'm just imagining, as a first-time president, how does that feel? Or as a first-time leader, how does that feel in that regard, to know that you're leading people, but people are dissatisfied with what you're doing, in a sense? So I can only imagine just how Jude felt when he felt like, okay, it's my first time to build this, and at the end of the day, because we had a discussion prior to, before we actually got into the internship, and you mentioned that you've never built anything. So in my mind, I was like, okay, so it's basically he has no experience. That's okay. So I'm like, you go and do this, in a sense, go and build this up, and no expectations of anything fancy, in a sense, because at the end of the day, what you need is to learn and to get the skill set to get into that, learning phase, and where you actually be able to create something, right? But at the end of the day, you have to start from somewhere. I started from somewhere at some point, and I remember I back then I never had a mentor, and it was really hard for me, but I had to start from somewhere. I also didn't know design, and there's so many people that I've worked with who have criticized my work and said that, Martin, your work is not good, and then it hits hard and you're like, man, maybe I'm not good enough, right? Maybe I don't deserve to be here. Maybe I don't even deserve to even be paid. It reaches a point where you even feel like, why just do work for free? I don't deserve to even be paid in this position. And it's something that everyone wrestles with, and I can only understand how you must have been feeling, wrestling with that feeling that, should I send this or should I not send it? At the end of the day, sometimes you just do it scared. My wife keeps saying, "Do it scared. Just do it scared. Just do the thing, but just do it scared." That's the idea that she uses. So that's her philosophy. Now, mine is, if you never try, you never know. That's my philosophy. If you never try, you never know. And sometimes I ask myself, if I'm to do this thing, do I even lose a leg? Will my leg be chopped off, or will it fall off if I do this? And I'm like, no, okay, so let me just get into it, and just drift, just go with the waters, see where the waters take me, in a sense. So that's sort of like the idea around it. So that's exactly where we are in terms of looking at this internship period, but also especially learning also from you, because you're also reminding me of back in the day when I also just began, and how things were as well. So thank you, Jude, for that honesty. And I think this is a session where we're going to just go raw and just be honest about stuff, in a sense. Yeah. Louise, maybe you would like to tell us about uh, yours as well. Thank you, Valentino.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. I think I'll first begin with commenting on what Valentino said, because something he said really caught my mind and brought me to a bigger understanding of actually our topic today. Because when he said, when he was hired and he was so scared, he knows nothing. Me on the other end, I was like, oh, they have brought in another guy. He's probably better than me, and they're probably going to give him my position. That is honestly what I thought, because I knew him. I've ever met him from before he joined us. And so I had that fear, like, oh my God, what if, now I'm the worst. So I think that is something there's something we should all learn from that. So my experience, I'll talk about my high school. So in high school, Form 6, I was in 2022. I had this big feeling that I would never be able to make it. I won't get the required points I have, given the fact that I was resitting the class. I didn't feel like I would ever make it. So when I went for first term of the new class, Form 6, looking at all these kids, they are all bigger than me. I'm so small. I even lost weight during the holidays because I felt like I'm nothing and I'm going to become nothing. So I had this thing of I'm not even going to pass midterm. I'm not going to pass end of term. And I remember telling myself after preps, I went to dorm one time and I said, God, there is no way I'm facing these midterms. You either make me sick or somehow you do something. And guess what? Somehow, somewhere, I fell sick and I didn't do those papers. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I wasn't going to be able to do this. So now, when I come back to school after going home, I'm seeing that there is no way I can escape end of term. I'm feeling so small. I'm feeling like I would not make it. So I just had to face it with my whole self because there's no one going to do it for me. I had to read. I tried my best. I said, I know I've never gotten above 10 points, but let me just try. At least let me get 8. Let me get 9 points, something like that. But surprisingly, end of term, I remember I got, I think, 11 points. That was such a big miracle because my best ever was 9 points. That was in Form 5, first term of 2019. So I really felt so happy and I was motivated. And somehow that feeling of imposter syndrome, feeling like I'm just frauding in this, eh? Like, why are my parents even repaying for my school yet I won't make it? Yeah, it started fading away, and I can testify that with the proceeding exams, then coming exams, I kept getting more and more points from 11. Term 2, we did 2 sets. I remember I got 13 and 14. And finally, it came to the final examinations where I got 17 points. It was such a big miracle because I never believed it could happen. And that made me really believe that anyone can make it if you put your mind to it. And that was a very great experience because I had this thing. That is the biggest experience of the imposter I've had. Yeah, and I'm glad that I was able to overcome it in that way and even get myself a government sponsorship. That's something I never saw myself in.
Nice, nice. Your story reminds me of my story as well. My senior five and senior six. I remember, I think the first time I got like 12 points in senior five, first term, and then the rest was getting like 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, and that was it. And then S6, again, I might have ended up with 12 points, I think. I think 12 points, yeah. And so I reached a point where I felt like, man, I've not performed really well. Um, Probably I don't feel good enough in this sort of context. So it just reminded me of like back how I also felt back in high school when I wasn't performing well. And I think at the end of the day, this is something that's going to happen to all of us. And there's beauty in vulnerability. You just being vulnerable and saying that I'm struggling with this, and other people can also relate with that and be like, oh, I am also struggling with this. Imagine being in a room where people are talking about what they're really struggling, what they're really struggling with. You're actually able to form better human connection with them and other people, right? So those are some of the things that I myself went through, and it goes through everyone else, and people are literally going to struggle with that. I won't lie to you. But if there's something that helps a person get through it, it's just do it scared. Like you did it scared. You just said, you know what, I'll just do the exam. I'll just, even if. And sometimes there's even no courage to even do any one of these things. There's like no courage to do these things. You're literally going to just go do the job interview and just know, now me, even if I fail, it's okay. Like you go in with this certain like, you know what? Let me just do my best as me, just be my authentic self and not try to pretend to be someone else that I'm not. And we'll see at the end of the day. And sometimes that helps, whether you get the job or not, whether you pass or not, whether you build the application people will love or not in a sort of context. At least you look back to what you've achieved and then you'll say, oh, I actually did great. And something that I always look at is, if 1 year ago, are you better off 1 year later? That's what I always look at. 1 year ago, are you better off 1 year later? So me myself last year. So rather than me comparing myself with other people, I say, Martin, June last year, where was I? And now June this year, where am I? Right? So at the end of the day, that's something that everybody's going to just go through. I remember I was also at some job, and I I was not doing very well, especially with I was watching the code, and they had to lay me off. They had to let me go, and I felt bad, and I felt like, oh man, like I don't feel good enough in this sort of situation. I remember I messed up a certain project that I was, project lead on, and it didn't go well, and um, I felt so bad. I mean, things just hit me, and I said, okay. So just felt like failure after failure after failure. I felt like I'm just not good enough. I just felt like, why should I wake up in the morning and just go at it? But sometimes you just do it scared. You do it scared, but you learn along the way. You learn from other people and just become better at the end of the day. Educate yourself in as much as possible. Just be more resilient. So that's just a bit of my experience in a sense, right? So I've just given experiences from back when I was failing in high school, back when I had a job and I also failed at some point, and I wasn't performing well, to let me go. Like all of those experiences build up, and at the end of the day, you you create, I would say, a record of losses. I think I'd like to use that word. People don't like losing, but when you look at your record of losses, what do you learn about your record of losses, and how does it make you better or stronger for the future in a sense? And that's how we should look at things in a sense. Because sometimes you feel like, I didn't perform well here, I'm most probably going to be hated. So you begin hating yourself, self-loathing, and then putting yourself down at the end of the day. And it happens to the best of us. It happens to the worst of us. But at the end of the day, how do I deal with this imposter syndrome, and how do I get myself forward despite the pain that I'm going through? So, yeah. Uh, Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Valentino. Unless you guys have anything else to add that you think people who are viewing this can learn from. Do you have any wise words for anyone like that? Yes, Valentino, go ahead.
For anyone out there struggling from imposter syndrome, as Mr. Martin has said, just do it scared. As Nike says, just do it. I mean, sometimes you have to look at it and say, what am I going to lose? Am I going to lose a leg? Am I going to lose my arm? Or am I going to lose my life if I'm to do this? Just just go ahead and do it. Just don't pull back. Don't step back. I mean, if I had refused to send the application to Mr. Martin, don't you think it would be a different story now? Mr. Martin, I think, would be saying this guy is not serious. So just do it. Don't hesitate. If something is not going to harm you or hurt you in a certain way, just go for it. Don't let imposter syndrome make you lose a lot of chances, a lot of wins, just because you think you're not worth it, or you are not where you're supposed to be. People are going to look at you as a fraud or something.
Mhm.
If Mark Zuckerberg had not gone ahead and created Facebook, he would not be where he is today. If Elon
Exactly.
Musk had not left South Africa to the USA, of course, he first went to Canada, then to the USA, he wouldn't be where he is. Or Jeff Bezos, the same thing. The man got rich at 40 something, I think, or 50. If he had given up long ago just because of the imposter syndrome, he wouldn't be among the richest people right now. Same
Yeah.
to Mark, same to Bill Gates and the rest of them. So just do it scared. as Mr. Martin has said.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valentino. Thank
Yeah.
you. Louise, any wise words for maybe you might know of a younger sister somewhere or a girl somewhere who might go through the same thing that you went through? Do you have any wise words for her?
Yeah, I think what I'll say today is you shouldn't hold yourself back. You shouldn't hold back to your limits by thinking that you're not worthy of anything, because in the end, actually, you would never know. If you had tried, you never know, you would have been way better than you think you could ever have gone. Just do it scared, as Mr. Martin said, do it scared. Just please do it scared, because as for me, I had no one really to tell me that I did it on my own, but someone out there would just be depressed by that fact and just lay low and think that the world is ending on them. There is no future for them, but just do it. Whatever project you have, whatever plans you have that you think can make you better, just do it, because I'm very sure if I hadn't done, I wouldn't be where I am today. If I hadn't repeated that class, I wouldn't be here with Mr. Martin, because I think all events flow. You never know what could happen with what you are going to do. You may see it bringing a small impact, but in the end, you will get something bigger than you even planned for. So, yes, just plant that flower. In the end, a whole garden will grow.
Cool. All right.
That's
Okay. Thank you guys so much. That's it for Fireside Chat today. If you guys have any questions or would like to know more about the stories, if you have any stories to share, just do send a post in there or a comment.